We're rolling? Why don't you just tell... Welcome to a serious sports show. I am your serious host, and today we are sad. If I had to put my sadness on a scale, I'd say about a 7. 7 out of 11. Big gulp. Lump in my throat because I'm so sad. It's always sad when someone loses their job, whether they deserve it or not, because you're not only taking away someone's income, but their ability to do the thing that they love to do. In full disclosure, I don't make any money doing this show, but if I was fired, I would still be sad. Maybe even an 11 out of 11 on the sadness scale. And in that case, my only 11-11 wish would be to get my job back. So today, we mourn the end of the Urban Meyer era in Jacksonville. The 3-time FBS National Championship coach was fired only 13 games into his tenure, with owner Shad Khan citing the coach's inability to regain the trust that he lost throughout a multitude of coaching decisions that coincided with the Jaguars' 2-11 record to date. I, like many of you, went to middle school, where I learned many things. Spanish, the transitive property, how to get bullies to stop lighting your shoes on fire. But in this application, the most valuable piece of info I actually learned was the iceberg theory. On the surface, many of the decisions that Urban Meyer made may seem poor, careless, and even damaging to the team that he was paid millions of dollars to coach. But as we know, not everything is so surface level, much like an iceberg. Due to global warming, icebergs are melting at alarming rates. But luckily for us, metaphorical icebergs remain forever. The iceberg theory was created by writer Ernest Hemingway, who used the image of an iceberg partially submerged to explain to readers how they only can see the tip of the iceberg, while below the surface of the water there is, or at least used to be when Hemingway was alive, a much greater section of the iceberg that people don't see. In Jacksonville, people saw just the tip of Urban's iceberg, the results of the coach's miscues. But beyond the surface, what they did not see was the intent of a successful coach trying to lead his team the only way he knew how. The first major public doubts of Meyer's tenure followed the Jaguars' 24-21 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, in which Meyer chose to stay in Cincinnati after the game as the rest of the team flew home to Jacksonville. While enjoying a long weekend in the great state of Ohio, photos were leaked of Coach Meyer drinking at his own bar and getting a little too close to a woman who was not his wife. Tip of the iceberg says, Urban Meyer, that guy's a gosh dang cheetah. But below the surface, Urban was showing players the risk of infidelity, what being a distraction to the team looks like, and overall what not to do. I would say there's a pretty good chance Urban didn't even want to be in Ohio getting rubbed on by some younger woman, once again, who was not his wife. But as a head coach, Urban takes his job to teach his team to be better very seriously. So much so that he's willing to sacrifice his marriage to do so, which is honorable from the coaching side. From the marriage side, it's a little left up. The rumblings only grew when reports of Meyer's treatment of staff emerged. The coach allegedly called his assistants terrible losers and threatened to fire their asses as if they ordered $10 worth of Taco Bell. On the surface, Meyer sounds like a downright meanie bobini. It's also a motivating tactic, a little tough love, if you will. Why would Meyer actually believe that his assistant coaches he's hired are losers? Urban's a winner. Well, not if you look at this season, but at the time he hired them, he was a winner. Winners don't hire losers because hiring a loser when you're a winner makes you a loser. That's how the transitive property works. And then former Jags kicker Josh Lambo told the Tampa Bay Times that Meyer had kicked him during pregame stretches. And for this kind of behavior, there are no excuses that could make it acceptable. But hear me out. It's very popular in the coaching profession nowadays to whip players into shape. And between being kicked or whipped, I choose kicked. I've had a lot of friends that were made fun of for being whipped by their significant other, and that kind of socialized embarrassment seems to outweigh the pain that a 5 out of 10 kick could give me. And that's not even including the physical pain of being whipped, which I'm sure hurts as well. Beyond the kick versus whip debate, Lambo was also having one of the roughest years of his professional career. The former Pro Bowler missed 3 field goals and 2 extra points in just 3 games with the team. Although a different sport, Henry Rowan Gardner was a below-average Little Leaguer until he broke his arm. But when it healed, It was so powerful that he quickly became one of the MLB's premier pitchers at only the age of 12. Maybe Meyer was hoping his kick would result in the same kind of performance jolt for a struggling kicker, and in which case, one could argue the despicable action would actually work out for everyone. Unfortunately, this is not what happened, which has led us to this sad day. Maybe not sad for the players of Jacksonville, or their coaching staff, or Josh Lambo, or anyone that actually had to deal with the problems that the Jacksonville Urban Meyer marriage had created. But for those of us who now lose what that marriage hath gifted the world through the form of social currency, this is a sad day. In headlines, friendly arguments, podcast segments, Stephen A. Smith's eloquently said monologues, us observers now have to move on. From trying to spin everything he does as right or wrong and crafting our perfect opinions on every move he makes. That's sad. And also, Urban Meyer losing his job. That's sad too. But I'm not too worried about Urban. If Urban Meyer has shown us anything this year, it's that he grinds. And if I know Urban like I think I do, he's going to go back to Ohio and grind as hard as anyone until he is back on that sideline.